Says we're live, guys. Okay. All right. You can do this back. Hey. Okay. Is there anybody that wants to do a opening prayer? I'd like to start that off. Oh, Aaliyah said she did. Okay, thanks, Aaliyah.
You're right.
I know. I could feel it.
Dear Father, we're grateful for this day. We're grateful that we're all able to come in humans. We're grateful for spring break and then Christmas.
Okay. All right. Well, I think everybody got a copy of the enrollment theme. Should we go ahead and start into that? All right. Let's do it.
I am the beloved daughter of heavenly parents with a divine nature and eternal destiny. As a disciple of Jesus Christ, I strive to become like him. I seek and act upon personal revelation and minister to others in his holy name. I will stand as a witness of God at all times and in all things and in all places. As I strive to qualify for exaltation, I cherish the gift of repentance and seek to improve each day. With faith, I will strengthen my home and family, make and keep sacred covenants, and receive the ordinances and blessings of the Holy Temple.
Hey. If you guys will just pass those down, so we'll collect those and keep them for every week. Okay, so for those at home, I didn't start the live, but for those that are here, Sarah went to Hawaii over spring break. Does anybody else want to share their fun spring break plans? Reese, what did you do?
We went to Georgia, and then I also went to softball tournament yesterday. That's why I sound like this. All weekend.
Awesome. So you guys went. So they went to a cabin in Georgia, right? On the lake there. That's pretty awesome.
Just chill, play games.
That's nice. Nice. Okay. Anybody else?
What did you do?
What? Me? I went to Texas. That's right, y'all. And I ate barbecue, and we went to their glorified gas station called Buc-ee's.
Yeah. Did you get the zebra nuggets?
I did, and they were so good. And they
Where
kept
is
saying,
that? Because we're going there in 2 weeks.
"Oh, you are?
You'll see it. Okay. They are the biggest gas station. They're not even like a gas station. They have full on food and
Yeah, and everybody said to get the brisket sandwich. You guys like barbecue? Okay, then that's really good. Everybody will tell you to go to Buc-ee's too, I think. So anyways,
it's
we
like
did that.
shopping almost.
They have
home goods.
It's an amazing gas station.
It really is. They're all over,
and they have
all over
tons
Texas.
of soda drinks. I mean, what's not to love? So anyway, it was good. Very good.
Cleanest bathrooms in Texas.
Yeah, the bathrooms are half the size of the store.
It's like their thing.
Yeah.
Is that they have the cleanest bathrooms in all of Texas.
Well, they were really clean. I was like, this is nice for a gas station. There's also QT, which is second best. So anyway, but never mind. I'll stop with Buc-ee's anyway. But it was good, very good. We did museums, and I got to feed a zebra and an emu pecked at my shoulder. So that was fun. I would show you guys a video, but I don't want to screw up this one. So anyway, anybody else get to feed a zebra?
We're not as cool.
Anyway, okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started. And some of the questions, probably sit silent that. And some of the questions that we start off, you know how Aaliyah, whoever is directing us, will start off and they'll ask a series of questions. I kind of wanted to explain that part of it because it's usually the same questions each week that we go over. And so it's the part in the lesson called Counsel Together. And as I was reading through it, when I was preparing for the lesson today, it says you can read through all of the questions or you can choose one to kind of talk about. And so I thought maybe this week we would start with just one question and really think about that question before we get started with our lesson. So the question that I was thinking about, it says, care for those in need. It said, how can we support each other in the things that we are going through? And I thought this is kind of a fitting question because there's a lot going on in people's lives right now with COVID or, I don't know, spring break. We've had a lot of time to think or whatever, but or try to help other people. So does anybody have any ideas about how we can support each other in the things that we're going through? It could be like trials. It could be.
I loved Brendan Alexander's example in her talk today about when she was stressed out at school and another gal saw it and gave her a note. I just thought that's such a simple thing to do. And you're right there with your peers. And thanks for sharing that.
Perfect. There was a talk that I was listening to a little while ago, and it talked about listening to, I think they called them pings, like, and I think your mom shared it with me, but it talks about listening to like pings. So like if you have a thought to do something, do it right then. Because I don't know how many of you guys are like in your homework, or maybe it says call a friend, or check in on this person, or I don't know, whatever it might be when it's involving other people. Sometimes I'll get like the impression like, oh, you should stop by and talk to this person, or maybe bring them a plate of cookies, or whatever it might be. But it said to take that first instinct as your ping, to like think about it and do it right then so that you don't forget, because sometimes we get busy and we never go back to that, right? And so maybe that can be something to help us how to learn to support each other, be listening to those pings or whatever. Anybody else have any pings this week? All right, well, we'll go ahead and jump to the board right here, you guys. I know you didn't miss my beautiful drawings right up here. So this is Adam. He's a pretty buff Adam that I had. And Eve. Okay. And so the title of this lesson, and when I first read it, I was like, okay, this will be a fun lesson. It says, how do the divine roles of men and women complement each other? Okay, and there's a couple of different ways that men and women work together in our daily lives, right? So the couple of words here that stood out to me were divine. And in our lesson, it said divine a ton of times. Like it kept coming up in quotes from the people that they referenced for the talks in the lesson. And this word kept coming up a lot, complement. Okay, do you guys, so someone tell me what is divine. Does anybody know what divine is?
Probably like heavenly.
Yes, I think so. I think it means like heavenly, like something heavenly. I think in my patriarchal blessing, something that stood out to me in my patriarchal blessing said, you are a daughter of the divine. You have divinity in you. And it's heavenly. Yes, you're a daughter of our Heavenly Father. We know that we say in our thing all the time, right? Okay, so then complement, so a role, a divine role, our heavenly role of men and women, and then a complement. So what is, if you complement something, each other, what does that mean?
Well, like when you compliment someone, you kind of work off of their weaknesses, and they work off of yours, so that you can both
Come together as one,
be
right?
as strong as you can.
Yeah. Okay. So so they kind of work together, right? So give me some examples, like peanut butter and jelly. They complement each other, right? It makes a great sandwich. Okay. So what's something else that complements each other? You guys think of anything? It doesn't have to be church-wise or anything like that. But what are some things that complement each other? So she said things that work together.
Milk and cookies.
Milk and cookies. That's right. That is a good example. I like that one. Milk and cookies. What else? I feel like these guys have a lot of suggestions, but they're.
I said eggs and bacon. She's like, bacon's gross. What? And I said fries and fry sauce, and she goes, ketchup. She's wrong.
I agree.
So many love. It's not the way my other children.
Somebody we were staying with this past weekend said ketchup on like ham sandwiches. I was like, I don't feel like that tastes very good. Not a compliment, all right? So, and I like when we're all talking about like food. Are we hungry?
Thanks.
Okay, anything else that you guys can think of that comes right off to your brain?
Butter and toast.
Huh? Butter and toast. Yes, see, more food. Dogs and bones, right? They love them. Okay, so we get the idea. Complement are things that kind of go together, right? Okay, so underneath it said, Heavenly Father gave men and women equally vital roles to fulfill his plan. These roles complement each other. To help men and women fulfill these roles, he gave them unique gifts and abilities. Okay, so we have Adam and Eve, and they were kind of the first men and women to come to earth, right? And so tell me a little bit about Adam and Eve. What is their story? Who came first, Eve or Adam? Adam. Okay, good. All right, we're all on the same page. Okay, so tell me, so what did the Lord say to Adam? What did he do with Adam? He was here by himself, and then what happened? Men should not be alone. Okay, and we know that. The older you get married, you realize that too. Okay. Anything else? Tell me about Adam and Eve. So where did they live?
Garden of Eden.
The Garden of Eve. Okay, so tell me about the Garden of Eve. What do you think it was like to live in the Garden of Eve?
Peaceful.
Beautiful, peaceful. Or like lions chasing after you and just like playing with you. That's what I picture. Like, oh, it's a lion, and you're like petting it, and what? There's like birds and fruit hanging from trees. I don't know. Like there's like this magical garden that like we see all the time in like movies or something. And then what happened? So they're in this magical garden, and what happens? Eve was tempted, okay? And then now Eve was tempted, she ate of the fruit. There were laws that had to be followed, right? Which is why all of this happened. And then they were sent to mortality, okay? Yeah.
While they were in the garden, they didn't understand right and wrong because they didn't know any better. They were like children. And so to fulfill the commandment of multiply and replenish the earth, something had to change. And so yes, we talk about Eve being tempted, but she also understood that she'd been given a commandment too. So when she partook of the fruit, I think it was more than just being tempted. I think she understood the plan that was presented, and without taking the fruit, they wouldn't be able to follow the commandment that the Lord had given them.
That's right. And it took both of them to do that, right? Okay. So she did. She knew the plan. So they went into mortality. Okay. So after that, they knew the difference between right and wrong, right? It says in here, it says they had to labor for their food. Some of the animals considered them food, and there were difficult challenges that could be overcome only as they counseled and prayed together. Okay. So I'm quoting this from, she's going to play around my thing, I'll find it for you, but she says, I imagine there were at least a few times they had differing opinions about how to approach those challenges. However, through the fall, they had learned that it was essential to act in unity and love. Adam, when she partook of the fruit, he didn't say, no, thank you, I'm not going to take that. They did it together, right? Because they understood their earthly purpose and eternal goal, they were identical. They found satisfaction and success in learning to labor in love and righteousness together. Gene B. Beacom, that's what it was. So after this time, they took and they replenished the earth. And then over time, the gospel was taken away from the earth. And the roles of men and women kind of changed, okay? So when you hear like the medieval time, when you hear about all these times where women treated as equals to men, no, there was very differing and very polarizing roles. And as we come on down, we're gonna go away from Adam and Eve now. Okay, even up until recently, I'm gonna change this to husbands and wives, because this is ultimately the example that these two set together, right? This example of husbands and wives. And that role kind of got muddled throughout the history, okay? And I think when the coming of the gospel came back out, there was a little bit more perspective to that. The Lord brought that perspective back of the equality of men and women and complementing and working together to achieve spiritual goals and to achieve family goals, okay? So we'll kind of get back into that a little bit. It says, during the time between the marvelous beginning of Garden of Eden and now, the adversary has been quite successful in its goal to divide men and women in his attempts to conquer our souls. Lucifer knows that if he can damage that unity between men and women, he can confuse us about our divine worth and covenant responsibilities. He will succeed in destroying families, which are the essential units of eternity. Hello. So Satan incites comparison as a tool to create feelings of being superior or inferior. hiding the eternal truth that men's and women's innate differences are God-given and equally valued. And I do think that in today, that's something that we kind of miss. We are different than men, right? Men have things that they are given to do in church or in the world, and same with women, okay? And I think Satan wants us to think that we need to be better or we need to do the same, but that's not the way the Lord has it set up, okay? All right, so husbands versus wives, all right? So I wanted to start this off because when I was your age, I started thinking about like husbands and wives. And I feel like, and maybe you guys don't do this, but I was always like, okay, who is, this perfect husband? All right. So I want you guys to think for a minute. Does it have Tom Cruise's head? Five Sauce's head? I don't know their names. Who is this perfect person that you guys have been thinking about? What are what are the traits and qualities of this person? Maybe you guys take to think for a minute. Did you find your most important one? Okay, that's enough time. All right, here we go. Give me Sherry. It can be crazy. I think mine, I just wanted that he wanted to be like taller than me. And he is, so that's good. That was a lot, not a very important one, I guess. So, all right, everybody want to share? Who's this perfect husband? Anyone? You've never thought about him?
You should just go around the room so people will actually talk.
I like it. Ruby. Kind. Yes, you do. You want someone that's kind. Marley.
Smart.
Okay, I like
Tall
it.
and hardworking.
Tall. Aha. She was like me. tall and hardworking. Good. I like it. Aaliyah. Patient. Okay.
Short guys.
This is gonna be like an amazing guy. Okay, go.
I don't know. I say kind.
Okay.
Nice. Sense of humor.
Sense of humor. I know. I always wanted a guy that was kind of funny too. All right. Good. Honest. Caring. Okay. Compassionate. I like it. Olivia.
Someone who
Loves
loves their family.
their family.
Loyal.
Huh?
Loyal.
Loyal.
Funny.
Okay. Well, you're not gonna lay that you. Huh?
Muscular.
Muscular. She's on Adam's train over there. Okay. Happy? Okay, good. I know. I like happy. Okay, leaders, now that you've been married, okay, are married, I guess. What's a trait that you value in your husband now that you guys have?
My husband always is the first to say yes. Like when something needs to be done, he's the first to offer help.
Okay, good. I like it.
That's how my husband is too. He's always serving everyone and always there just to help everyone out. With a smile on his face too.
A happy servant.
Yeah.
Supportive.
I would say serving, and then there's one thing that I love so many things about my husband, but when our kids were little, and it would be like 2 a.m., and I was just at my wit's end with like one of the kids went to sleep. All I'd have to do is kind of tap him. He never complained, never did anything. He just kept me home. So just like willingness to do whatever is needed. I don't know, just no complaints.
Like happiness to serve or to be helpful or whatever. Good, I love it. You guys taking notes?
And he's hot.
Can I say one?
Yeah.
I think we like we talked about all these traits, but looking back, if I had known that I wanted a husband who was the best for me, and I, kind and happy and all those things, but there's things that I'm good at and things I'm not good at. And the things I'm not good at, he's good at. And so I think we also have to, as we're picking the perfect guy, realize that we need the complement of what we aren't good at in our spouse so that when we're together, we're 100%.
That is perfect. And that is exactly thank you. That is exactly what we're going to say. There's the idea of your perfect guy, he really doesn't exist. But you can find somebody that is perfect for you and someone that understands that complements someone that works in equality with you. So I kind of like that. And in the talk, Linda K. Burton, she gave a talk called Lesoon Together. And she basically was saying, she said, we know from scriptures that it is not good that man should be alone, That is why her Heavenly Father made a helpmeet for him. The phrase helpmeet means a helper suited to, worthy of, or corresponding to him. For example, our two hands are similar to each other, but they're not exactly the same. In fact, they're opposites, but they complement each other. In her talk, she kind of gave some examples of things that the apostles and prophets that have said about their wives. And I like these things because these are men that are in positions of great authority, right? They're leading our church. But here are the things that they say about their wives. And I'm reading a book about President Nelson right now, and they had 10 kids. 10, okay? That's like this front row. And maybe two, okay? So that's a lot of kids. But he only had really great things to say about her. And so did Joseph Smith about his wife, Emma, who also had lots and lots of struggles. But anyway, this is what they said. They said, speaking about his wife, Donna, President Boyd K. Packer said, because of the office I hold, I have a solemn obligation to tell the truth. She's perfect. Hold on, let's just say this. Okay. It says, President Uchtdorf said about his wife, Harriet, she is the sunshine of my life. President Thomas S. Monson, speaking of his beloved Frances, said, she was the love of my life, my trusted confidant, and my closest friend. To say that I miss her does not begin to convey the depth of my feelings. And President Henry B. Eyring said, referring to his wife, Kathleen, said, she is a person who has always made me want to be the very best that I can be. Okay? So I love those quotes about that because we were made to be together and to complement each other. And if you think about the proclamation of the family, what does it tell us about? You guys, I'm sure you've read it a few times in different classes and whatnot, but do you remember what it says about the roles of husbands and wives in there? Remember anything? Okay, it says, I'll help you guys out here. It says, by divine design, fathers are to preside over their families in love and righteousness and are responsible to provide the necessities of life and protection for their families. Mothers are primarily responsible for the nurture of their children. In these sacred responsibilities, fathers and mothers are obligated to help one another as equal partners. Okay, so this is in there. And if you continue to read in the proclamation, go back and reread it today because it lists off different things that you each are kind of responsible. It gets a little bit more specific, and then it's your specific role as a woman, and then it's the specific roles of men. So we have husbands and wives, okay? And so then I kind of wanted to bring us back to, and I'll make this fast, our last grouping, which would be Emma. Oh, wrong one. Some muscles. Emma. And we're going to say Joseph. But then I also kind of want to put in here, because Joseph kind of represents, this is the brothers of the church, and we as the sisters of the church. Okay, so I kind of want to talk a little bit about our roles of that, because everything in our church is based upon laws, and it was set up divinely, right? This is set up from before we came here, right? And so it says, one of the keys to understand that women and men work together, we accomplish a great deal more than we do working separately. Our roles are complementary rather than competitive. And I like that. So we are complementing. We work together rather than being competitive, competing for different things in a relationship, whether that be in a church role or family role or whatever it might be. It says, although women are not ordained to priesthood office, as noted previously, women are blessed with priesthood power as they keep their covenants. And they operate with priesthood authority when they are set apart to a calling. Okay, so in church, when I take that, I think when I get called to be in Young Women's, I get the opportunity to have a blessing that will set me apart for this. And I receive the blessings of that. I receive the blessing and from the priesthood, and it helps me with the things that I have to do in my calling. That makes sense? Did I confuse you guys? Did I do a weird circle on that one? Okay. So anyway, I like that she said it was complementary rather than competitive. It said, although women are not, we just did that one. So President Nelson said, one of the most important aspects that I'm reminded of when I come to the restoration of the priesthood site is the important role that women played in the restoration. when Joseph first started to translate the Book of Mormon, who did the writing? Who did the writing? We're going to learn about this right now. As we're in D&C. Who did the writing for Joseph Smith? Do you guys know? Emma. Yeah, Emma did the writing for Joseph Smith. So, and then when I think of how Joseph went to the woods to pray near their home in Palmyra, New York, where did he go? He went into the sacred grove. Why did he go there? Because that's where his mother went to pray. So here are these important roles kind of coming out. You kind of see how they complement each other. So there are just two women who have the key roles in the restoration of the priesthood and the restoration of the church. No doubt we could say our wives are just as important today as they were then. Of course they are. It says like Emma, Lucy, and Joseph, we are the most effective when we're learning to find one another and united in our goal. Okay, so any thoughts on that? So we have, and have you guys had opportunity to read D&C 25 in your lesson? Okay, when you guys get home today, read it because it talks about Emma and she's kind of wondering what her role is. She has a husband who is, trying to teach people about the gospel. He's away a lot and different things. And she's kind of wondering, what is my role? Like, what is it that I have to do? And she was a huge influence in restoring the church. Okay, and so I go back and kind of read that today and kind of see the things that the Lord told her to do. And as I was reading through it, kind of sounded a little bit like a patriarchal blessing or something to her. It kind of tells her things that she will be blessed with and the things that she will be given. So it was kind of interesting. I really liked D&C 25 as it talked about that. Let's see. I'm a real big person on quotes, and so do you guys have quotes that you put up in your house or whatever? No? Yes? I know sometimes people came like their bathrooms or their car or whatever it might be. In closing, I really like this quote. It says, today we need women who have the courage and vision of our Mother Eve to unite with their brethren in bringing souls unto Christ. Men need to become true partners rather than assume they're solely responsible or act as pretend partners while women carry out much of the work. Women need to be willing to step forward and take their rightful and equal place as partners rather than thinking they need to do it all by themselves or wait to be told what to do. Seeing women as vital participants is not about creating parity, but about understanding doctrinal truth. Rather than establishing a program to bring about, we can actively work to value women as God does as essential partners in the work of salvation and exaltation. And so I like this lesson because I think it brings us together. It shows us what our roles are. And if you haven't gone back, go back in your library and read the talks they've got. They were awesome, and I probably quoted a ton of them today, but I think you guys should. But anyway, go back and reread through that. So anyway, I say these things in the name of the Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Okay, and then announcements for this week. We do have an activity on this Tuesday, and I don't know what it's going to be.
Are you sure? Are we doing it Saturday?
Oh yes, it is Saturday.
Drive, so either snowboarding or
Yeah, but not
drive.
everybody.
I thought they were.
I know.
doing- Oh.
The younger girls are gonna go Saturday morning. We don't know what time yet to go pick up the food off of the doorsteps for the food drive and then take it back to the church.
So 11 and 12-year-olds, right?
Yes.
So 11 and 12-year-olds, you'll be doing stuff for the food drive. So they also be doing that on Saturday morning.
Yes.
Perfect.
That's when the food drive is. So I will get back to you at the time.
Okay. And I'll send out a message, and you guys can find it on circles or text message or whatever. And then the older kids, 13 through 18, are doing their high adventure at Bryan Head. So mark your calendars.
I think we meet here at 8.
That's about right.
8. I think we're leaving at 8:30, and you need to have a sack lunch with you for lunch. Dinner will be provided later that night, but you need to bring a sack lunch with you.
And younger girls, I'll get you a treat or something. Snowboarding and skiing. We'll make it fun somehow.
I love it. All right. All right, guys, have a fabulous week this week. And enjoy your last day of freedom tomorrow. For you. Shh, back to the grind. Anyway, we'll turn this off. Okay. We'll end that. Last week, those